right. Now, if you have not done so already, I definitely want you to go to this URL to claim your free gifts. I'm sure a lot of you have. If you got your 60-second video of telling your story, if you have not done that already, do that as soon as possible, because at some point I'm going to pull that down. You will have more than enough time to get the information, but at some point I will pull it down because it frees up space on the computer. Okay. And I noticed there was something wrong with one of the links with the interview with Constance Arnold. That has been fixed. So if you experience that challenge, that is now fixed. But it also, the reason you want to keep going back to the website in the free gift section, because for the next 30 days, I'm going to add more and more stuff to the free gifts. And at some point, obviously that stuff will come down. So make sure you go back, grab all your stuff. Now, the other thing I want to point out is this is a post-event training for the Speaking for Newbies 2-day live event. Those who made the investment in the program, you're going to get something entirely different. This is just a follow-up, showing you how to kind of connect all the dots, just touching base with some of the key points I want you to really focus on that we really touched on during the 2-day event. All right, so I am going to, before this is over, I'm going to, is that Katrina speaking? Nope. Okay. Before this is over, I'm going to post a schedule, and I'm also going to just go over some of the content. And I'm also going to bonus everybody, because I really want everybody to succeed at this. So again, for those who made the investment, I'm going to bonus you an extra time during the consulting sessions, right? So obviously, you're already getting an hour, even though it's longer than that. But I'm going to go over. I'm going to do more of that. The reason being is I know everybody's at different levels. I know, Oprah, you have an event coming up here. I believe you said on the 29th, and I want to kind of help you through that and show you some of the stuff you really need to focus on during that event. So what you want to do is you want to go to the this URL. I will put it up again, right, to grab your free gifts if you have not done so already. So it is officially not 7 yet, but basically 7 o'clock on my end. And I'm going to mute my line for about 30 seconds to ask a question of someone, and then I will return. And okay, so all right, it's 7 o'clock here. Let's get started officially. And again, that's why you arrive early to your events, right? You just want to make sure everything is working all right. I've seen microphones go down. I mean, everything. So you just want to arrive early. And you also want to, I will expose my pre-show ritual for a live event during the course. It is just what I do pretty much every time I arrive to a live speaking engagement. And the reason why is I want to get in a routine, okay? So obviously, one of the things we talked about during the live event was story, okay? And the importance and power of your story. And again, for those who did not attend the live event, your story, everything starts with your story. Your story is the foundation that runs it runs everything, okay? Now, if you also have a business that is more product based, right? story still apply. Your story still applies, even if your product has a story. Okay, but the easiest way to apply that to your product-based business is how you started, how you created, found the product, and the transformation it provides to the audience. Okay, and again, that's the same thing we talk about with the story. Now, and again, I know I'm going over what we talked about 11 days ago, but it's that important because when you get this in line, when you get this in order, it's an absolute game changer in the industry. And the beautiful thing about this is you're no longer communicating based on like fiction and stuff we kind of make up. You're just sharing you. And when you share you, it changes the game entirely. So if you remember the story I mentioned during the live event where I mentioned the guy said he did not like me, right? He did not like me until I told my story, which in this case was the last thing I did. I'm going to have to turn this off here a little bit here. I'm going to turn this down. Which was, in this case, the last thing I did, right? So he's going through the entire presentation, not liking me in this live event, not liking me until he heard the story. Now, why would that make such a difference? Well, again, it makes all the difference. So I want you to write this down until they hear your story, okay? And again, one of the other things we discussed was your USP. What makes you different? What makes you different from every other speaker, presenter, communicator out there, right? There's a lot of speakers. There's a lot of keynote speakers, right? But what makes you different? Why should that audience bring you in? Like why should the meeting planners bring you in to have you communicate your message? Well, what separates you is your story, okay? And it's that important. So, all right, JP, nice to see you. AJ, perfect. All right, like a lot of people are on here. And I want you to type your questions into the chat box because I want to answer your questions. And all right. So the other thing I mentioned meeting planners, and it's important that you understand how a meeting planner goes through the process of booking a keynote speaker. Now, when I say that, I also want to point out it's not just a keynote speech is typically 45 minutes to an hour to 75 minutes to 90 minutes, usually 60 minutes long, roughly. But this also applies for training. So if you're doing a training, right, all day, half day training, 3-hour workshop, these principles still apply. Okay. All right. So don't just think in terms because I'm using keynote speaker. That's just what I prefer. I prefer to go in for the hour, even though I do lots of trainings, obviously. Speaking for 2 days is a training as well. But I love the keynote because it's I'm in, I'm out. Great to have great impact with somebody, and it's just a powerful way of doing it. So, okay, so Katrina has a question. What platform do you recommend for sharing our videos that are recorded at the session? All right, good question, Katrina. Okay, so again, now this is about being functional and getting it done as quickly as possible, okay? So the easiest format to use right now is YouTube, right? YouTube is the easiest format to use, and I've personally found with YouTube that what's it called as they load, as the videos load, it tends to be a little faster, okay? Obviously, I also use my a website platform, which is okay, and I also use Zoom for videos, all right? But as far as being functional and not costing any money, right? Not costing you any money, YouTube is the way to go, and it's easy. Now, keep this in mind. Now, this is important, okay? With videos and YouTube, you want to make sure you have backups of all your video on your computer. YouTube is a free service, and like Facebook, like all of this stuff, they change the rules all the time, right? So YouTube recently, I saw some communication. I'll just say they're changing the rules all the time, right? So you want to make sure you own your content because keep in mind, we are putting our intellectual property on their platform, which they own, and they could do whatever they want with it. So they could delete your videos, they could do whatever they want. Have I had that problem? No. I've been using YouTube since I think 07 or 08, and I've not had any issues there. But again, I'm not trying to sell, weird products as well. I'm not making crazy political. I don't share crazy political views on YouTube, right? So I'm just using it as a way to host videos. All right, and it's a great platform for that. All right, so I said I'm assuming AJ that was a good question, Katrina. All right, so any other questions concerning video? All right. So so obviously, did everybody get a chance to download their 60-second story, their story in 60 seconds videos? Just put a Y in the chat box. Yes. Obviously, those who weren't at the event. And let me just explain for those who did not attend the event. What we did is I gave everybody that wanted to participate, right? Nothing is forced on anybody. The opportunity to tell their story in 60 seconds. And the reason that's important to be able to tell your story in 60 seconds is you want to have a short version, you want to have a medium version, and a long version of your story. And this also, great, Carla, this also acts as your elevator pitch. Right. So for me, my story in, less than 60 seconds is ninth child to a single mom, put up for adoption, adopted at the age of 2. But because I was being abused, I was put in foster care, and I lived in group homes and foster homes until I was 18 years old. That's my story in a real shortened version of that. Now, obviously, when I was at the event, I told a much longer version of that story, which goes into a whole lot more detail. Right. But you want to think of this in terms of sound bites. You want to think of this in terms of sound bites. And so if I use my story as an example, I was ninth child to a single mom. Right. That's a sound bite. That's a quick sentence. Right. Put up for adoption at birth. That's the second sound bite. Adopted at the age of 2. Third sound bite. Right. Are you able to hear, Katrina? Okay. You guys are having your own conversation, right? So that's a separate soundbite, right? So the short version is I'm using sound bites. The longer version is I start to fill in those spaces with more detail and more content. All right. But again, the important thing about your story is you want to start with the sound bites. You want to lead to the transformation that the audience will experience. So in my case, it's about the magic of attitude, right? Somebody taught me a simple magic trick as a kid. I fell in love with it. My life turned around, and but now I focus on motivation and attitude. That's the transformation the audience will experience. So what is your transformation, right? What is your transformation that the audience will experience? All right, so let me go back here. What other questions do we have? Not a problem, AJ. You deserve them. You guys did a fantastic job on the videos. And again, so here's a great strategy right now. Fantastic strategy. Write this down. And this is, again, to answer Katrina's question and AJ's questions, where to post the videos, right? Well, we don't want to just post for the sake of posting stuff. We want it to lead to money, right? We want it to lead to a paid speaking engagement. So here's one strategy and one powerful way to use YouTube and your video. Now, I'm saying this without all the detail, right? But you could kind of piece it together and still have great impact. So you could use YouTube and you could use these short videos as a way to link into an email. Right? So you attach the link into an email, and now you go communicate with whoever it is that you're trying to reach. Now forget about your story for one moment. One strategy that I learned from a mentor of mine was when I'm trying to communicate with somebody and really trying to get their attention, I'll turn my computer on. I will record a short video, right? Because we we talk different than we speak, right? We talk different than we talk different than we write. My bad. We talk different than we write, and it just comes across differently. So I'll record a short video saying to this person here, hey, this is Eric Anderson. I've been trying to reach you. Here's why I'm trying to contact you, right? I will upload that to YouTube and then put that into a link into an email communicating with the person I'm trying to reach. And the subject line and the sentence in the email simply says, I've recorded a video just for you. Right? I've recorded a video just for you. Now that's usually enough to get the person to click on the link, and now you share whatever your message is with the person. Now again, this is powerful because what happens is we write one way, right? We speak differently. The power of me doing the live event a few days ago with you was you got to see me, you got to hear me, you got to shake my hand, we got to interact, right? You can't do that. I talked about this during the event. You really can't do that. You can't really do that in email. Video, however, allows you to get close to that. It's not that exactly, but it allows you to get really close to having that interpersonal, that face-to-face communication. It's a really, really powerful way of doing that. So you could use it. You could use the strategy I just shared with you to create personal messages with people that you're trying to reach out to for speaking engagements. You could also use that as a way to upload your story in 60 seconds with the communication that says, so with the communication it simply says, I would love to chat with you about speaking at your event. Here's my story in under a minute, right? And I'd love to tell you more and how I could benefit you at the event. Okay. So if you have Apple, I use PC. No problem, AJ. Thank you. I use a PC and I use Windows, and it comes with Windows Movie Maker, right? Which is a real simple free program that will allow you to, and you could also do this. I'm not sure what it's called on Apple. That actually might be the name of it on Apple. But what you do is you take your 60 second, your story in 60 seconds, right? And you want to think of it as a sandwich. So here's the sandwich, okay? The first part is you introducing yourself to the person. So you say, hey, AJ, this is Eric Anderson. I would love to talk to you about speaking at one of your events. I understand you don't know exactly who I am, but I could really benefit you and your audience. Here's my story in 60 seconds, right? And how this might benefit you, okay? Then your story plays. Now, the second part of the sandwich, right? Your story's in the middle. Your first part is the introduction. Your story's in the middle. That's the meat. The last part is the call to action. So let's schedule a time to chat, right? Let's schedule a time to chat. When's the best time? And I usually almost always close it out with a question. Let's schedule a time to chat. When is the best time to connect with you? Question mark. Leave it at that, right? So they will usually respond with the best times. Now, it's also important to keep in mind, now we're not just sending this to random people. So let me just share a quick story with you. I was, maybe I told the story during the event, but I was consulting for a gentleman, and I told him about the success blueprint, which I explained a little bit during the event, and how to go get, how to increase our fees and how to go ask for the money. And I told him, in my case, the success blueprint, once I'm dealing with a qualified client, it has an over 90% close ratio, okay, which is really, really high because I'm dealing with qualified people. So he comes back and he says, Eric, I've been sending out these success blueprints and they're not working. I said, what? That's crazy. What's going on? So in me asking him questions, I realized he was not following the system, right? He created his own system, and his system was to just send it out to random people. Well, these people aren't expecting it. They don't know him. There's no relationship. There's no affinity. There's no nothing. He's just sending it out to random people asking for money. I say, well, no wonder it didn't work. That's not what I told you to do, right? So when you're putting this sandwich together, and this is a very short version of a promo video, right? When you're putting this sandwich together, your introduction, right? Your story in 60 seconds, your introduction leads to how you're going to benefit them, your story in 60 seconds, and the call to action. The call to action is what you want them to do, right? So AJ, if you remember during the live event, you were the first person to arrive. And I remember you came in and you said, no, I'm just doing what you said do, right? Because I gave everybody precise instructions in the email. I said, when you arrive, right, you fill out you fill out the video form, right? You fill out your name tag and grab your seat. I think there was one other thing in there, right? But I was telling you exactly what to do. So in the call to action, you want to explain to them exactly what you want them to do. And you have to be so precise as to say, if you want them to call you, you say, take out your phone, take out your phone and press these numbers and I'll answer, right? You have to be extremely precise. Now, I know this sounds silly. I know this sounds maybe even foolish in some respects, but if you don't tell people exactly what to do, they will not do it because confusion sets in very, very quickly. Okay. So let me give you an example of this. I once heard that, I heard this and it always stuck with me. They said, if you're having a medical emergency, you point to somebody and you describe that person, male, female, you describe exactly what they have on down to their shoes and say, you, sir, with the green jacket and the whatever, right? I need your help right now. Do this and tell them exactly what to do. And that increases your odds. That increases your odds of surviving that particular situation. Otherwise, everybody will sit around waiting for somebody else to do something. Meanwhile, you're having a medical emergency. I know this to be true. So here's a story. A number of summers ago, we were in the backyard and I was barbecuing and I was sitting there waiting for the flame to work its magic. And I'm just kind of sitting down. And all of a sudden I noticed, I said, why is there a circle of fire around the grill? Right? There's a perfect circle of fire around the grill. And I said, what? And it starts spreading outwards very, very quickly, which means it was very difficult to handle because I couldn't get to any particular part. So Eric, being the brilliant person that I am, I run into the house. I just washed a pile of clothes. I grabbed those clothes. I said, I'm going to smother the fire. Throw that down on the fire. Let's just say I needed a whole new wardrobe, all right? All the clothes burned up. And keep in mind, the fire is still spreading outwards to the point the entire backyard is now on fire. And I'm not on fire. And we had this kind of, one of those hills and it had some brush on it. So once it hits that, goes up quickly. Now, people are starting to notice this, right? By people, I mean, other neighbors are starting to notice. They come out their house and they're just watching me. At some point, Monique, the bright one, she says, Eric, why don't you just turn on the water hose? So I get the water hose. I start working the fire, right? But now it's pretty much out of control. But I'm doing what I can do, just making sure it doesn't get to the house, right? And I noticed all the neighbors were just sitting there watching from their backyards, close enough to like I could communicate with them, but just watching, not doing a thing. I guess they don't understand it's about to get to their house next. Up until the moment I said, sir, you, and you, go do this. That's when they got an action, right? Up until that moment, they did absolutely nothing, right? So just to finish the story, one of the neighbors saw everything. He had one of those pressure washers on his truck, pulled the truck in the backyard, saved the day. Everything worked out, right? And just as a side note, what I forgot to do is I forgot to put the grill grate on the bottom so the fluid came through. It was on fire, and that's why there's a perfect circle of fire around the grill spreading out. Okay. And but the point of the story, there's more to the story, but the point of the story is from a marketing standpoint, you have to tell people exactly what to do. So it may seem silly, right? But you have to tell them, do this, do this, do this, and do this, right? Pick up the phone, press this number, and here's what's going to happen. Also with that, you want them to understand what they're going to get. So if they're going to get your voicemail, that's fine. I tell people 9 times out of 10, you're going to get my voicemail, right? And here's what it's going to say, right? So they're not surprised when they hear it and they know they have reached the right person, right? So here's what I want you to do. So the point is, tell them exactly what to go do, right? And these like real short, you want to keep your videos, in this case, just kind of short and concise, right? I'm talk in the program about how to create a longer promo video and how to turn it into a profit center and all that stuff. But in this case, you want to keep it short and very concise and to the point, right? And the most important part is you must have affinity with the people that you're sending it out to, right? You must have affinity and a connection. By connection, I'm not saying you need to know them, but it needs to tie in to that particular audience some way, shape, or form. Okay? So let's see, what other questions do we have here? All right, Courtney Brown says iMovie. Yep, that's for Apple, right? It's a free program and it's real simple to use. These programs are real simple to use. There's more advanced programs, but this is like copy and paste. Copy and paste. All right, and let me show you. Actually, this is going to talk about the next point here. Let me show you a quick video I put together. And some of you will recognize. Those that missed the event, did they miss something? Those that missed the event, did they miss something grandiose?
Yes! I've spent the past 2 days with Eric Anderson in his seminar, Speaking for Newbies. This has been definitely the best 2-day seminar for business that I've ever attended. And he gives tangible, easy to implement strategies. And this has been just a life changer and a game changer.
6 months. Actually landed my first speaking gig about 3 months ago with Eric's help. He helped me land a first-time speaking gig that paid me $3,000 to do it.
I started to apply just a few of the concepts, and in a very short period of time, I've been making a lot more money than I had been as a speaker. I've been securing speaking opportunities. If you're considering working with Eric Anderson, don't consider it. Just jump right in.
Would you say the value of the information I gifted you yesterday would be at least $20,000?
Yes.
I just received a check for $20,000. This is a deposit check, okay? There are 2 other installments. I worked with Eric Anderson on closing the deal. He helped me craft my message and my story.
I'm quite amazed that given as successful as Eric is, that he takes the time out of his schedule to share so much valuable information over 2 days with us that just, I mean, the gold nuggets are just abundant, and I can't wait to start.
All right, so you guys could, let me go back to the video. Katrina, you still there? Okay, it's fine. It's fine here. Let's see. Let me go back to the slide presentation here. All right. So, and again, the reason, so I wanted to show you that video to show you how simple it is to put together. I did that earlier today, right? Using a very simple program, and it's very simple, right? So in this case, it was a string of testimonials. Obviously, you guys are at the event, so you recognize some of the people at the event, okay? But again, that's how simple it needs to be. It doesn't need to be complicated. Matter of fact, what sells, and if you remember the story I told you, where I sent the woman a video of me playing with the puppet, the raccoon, by accident, she still ended up booking the engagement, right? They want to see something. Right now, that was the wrong video to have sent, but it didn't really much matter. So you don't want to worry about being perfect. You want to worry about being functional and just take what you have, get it out there, make some money from it, and then if you want to improve it, you can improve it. But you'll find it doesn't need to be complicated here. All right, so let's see. What are the questions that we have before we continue? Yeah, Althea, yeah, we're having some trouble with Katrina's sound, but she's with her sound, but she's just going to type in any questions that she has. Okay, girl, let me just scroll down just a second. Give me a second. Make sure I've answered the questions that you've answered. And I will make a special announcement at the end. Oh, and let me explain to you. Okay, let me just make sure I'm the newbie. What are some of the easy steps for getting paid? A paid speaking engagement. Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so let me go back to that. Okay, so let me also explain to you why I moved the date. because in my excitement to do this post-webinar event for you, I just scheduled the date here, but did not look at my schedule, my calendar, not realizing I had a series of events earlier this week, right? So I double booked myself. So in that particular case, these events were already booked, scheduled, under contract, right? So I said, well, I can reschedule this and go do that. So the lesson is, right, you want to back up. You don't want to just go off memory. See, and I like to think I have a fantastic memory, but I just wasn't thinking, right? I just wasn't thinking. So you want to put all your events on a calendar, something you can visualize, something you can see. You want to put it in your phone, right? You want something that you can see. So in my case, I went to, and we'll talk about and go into detail with the training about setting up your office. And, you know, in my case, I call it the Wizard's War Room, right? That's, hey, Katrina, I just heard something. Say something, Katrina. Katrina, say something. Okay, yeah, I heard something for a second. Okay, so in my case, I'll call my office the Wizard's War Room, right? And it's just, as I mentioned during the event, it's just another room in the house, right? So it could be, I'm at a kitchen table right now, right? So the great thing about this business, it's a lifestyle business. Like I said, I've had office space in the past, and it was completely unnecessary for my goals, right? For my personal goals. And again, the great thing about the speaking business, the keynote speaking business, is you can build it around your lifestyle. All right. So Katrina had a question. As a newbie, what are some easy next steps for getting a paid speaking engagement? Now, I'm going to take this back a little bit because Katrina and there was, I forgot the other young lady at the event she was talking to. This was after the event, the second day I was kind of breaking down. They were asking some questions. And then one of the questions they asked, and I said, wow, that's a great question. I wish the rest of the group was here to hear that. So I want to tell you what they were asking. And it's about how to go get some stage time, right? How to go practice, right? So you feel comfortable in front of a group. And what I suggested, and this is the thing I suggest to everybody, is go do career days, right? Call up a local school. There's a local school in your area. You've probably have already been contacted by them, and go do some career days. It's a great way to get in front of an audience. It's a great way to go practice your material. It's a great way to stay on schedule because, again, remember, one of the important parts about being a speaker is you have to keep in mind there are other speakers before and after you, so you have to stay on schedule. And the great thing about a career day, there is usually a speaker before and after you, right? So you have to stay on schedule. You get your 15, 20, 30 minutes, whatever it is, and use these as a way to practice, but also they are great networking events, right? Depending on the ones you go to, right? They're great networking events. But it's a great place to go get some video footage. You could actually get testimonials from the other presenters, right? That are there that have heard you speak, right? So this is a great place to go. And if you remember, Cara Sevier, she was the one that was on I got the media attention for, and she also had her book, The Fashionista, right? That was the first thing I recommended to her is go do some career days. And we scheduled a couple of them. I went with her to the career day, grabbed some footage for her, right? And she's now able to use that footage. So remember, it doesn't need to be, I know I keep saying this because everybody thinks it needs to be fancy. It needs to be on these big stages and all of this stuff. Now, here's the challenge with that sometimes is I have stuff on huge stages in front of huge audiences. And I have found that people say, oh, well, he just works for these groups, right? He won't work with us, right? There's just an assumption that they make. So you want people to see variety, right? So depending on how you signed up for the initial Speaking for Newbies 2-day live event, I had some pictures in front of a small group, some in front of thousands of people, right? I had different clips. And the reason being is because everything's not on this big grandiose stage. Sometimes they're in the back training office in somebody's office. Okay, so you want to have a variety of different footage. You want them to see you in big crowds, small crowds, but most importantly, you want to start where you are at right now. So don't wait to be perfect. Just get started. And a career day is a beautiful way to make that happen. And as I say, grab some testimonials. So let me just go back. I haven't completely answered the questions yet. All right. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let me go back to the questions. Okay. So, and again, the paid speaking engagements, that's going to start when you start sending out your videos, right? Your video, right? With those messages, communicating with a very targeted audience. So remember, your story tells you who to go communicate to. So keep in mind, remember the video when I showed you the young man, Evan, who booked a $3,000 speaking engagement, his first time out the gate. And again, the reason that works so well is because he's in a particular industry, in this case, foster care, and he's talking to people in foster care, right? He's not trying to go to some industry he does not have any expertise in. So a lot of people, one of the big mistakes I made early on is I would try to pick an industry based on how much money I thought they had in that industry, right? I tried to pick an industry based on how much money I thought they had. And the mistake was they all have money, right? But I was just kind of following the crowd and saying, okay, everybody's doing this. Let me go do that, right? They all have money. It's just a matter of how you ask, but most importantly, you want to have some affinity with the group. I cannot stress that enough because so many people miss that part of the equation. So, so Katrina, type in. Let me just type in. Just so I'm correct, you said your audience was stroke victims, or is that correct? And you can just nod your head if that's correct. Okay, so you mind if I share a bit of the story? You don't mind? Okay, all right. Okay, so in Katrina's case, she father experienced a stroke, right? Obviously, that's she's the daughter. Obviously, there's some emotional challenges there in dealing with that and getting through that whole process. Well, that's a perfect audience because now you have a story how you dealt with this, and now you could go help other people deal with this, right? So in talking with Katrina very, very briefly, I'd mentioned to her that May is National Stroke Month, right? Which is an absolutely perfect opportunity to go get on television and go get media and all of this stuff based on your story, how you dealt with this particular issue, and now how you're going to benefit the audience to deal with this particular issue, right? So it's not your whole story, but that's part of your story. And you can live with that. When I say live with it, meaning forever. Those audiences are endless. You can go forever with that, right? Now, you may want to change. You may want to get into different markets. That's fine. But you start where you're at and you build from there. So let me go up and see if there's any more questions. Okay, what local TV shows are you currently looking for guests? Let me get back to that. What website? All right. Can you see me and hear me? Can you see me? All right. So for some reason, it has deleted all the chat, but it looks like everybody's still there. So please type in the questions again. And again, this is why technology is so beautiful. It works perfectly. All right. So I think the question was about local. Perfect, Janelle. Okay, I think it was about local TV, correct? Was that one of the questions? All right, so, and one of the things I'm starting to work on and I'm starting to process right now And again, if that, okay, just a side note, if that happens again, I'm not sure what happened, but if that happens again, I'll just do exactly what I did. So if you don't see me for a second, just say the signal dropped or whatever, and Eric's coming right back. And I think that's probably the first time that's happened with this software. So, but we're back. So, so there's lots of local, when I say lots of local TV shows, there's a few local TV shows, Fox 5 being one of them. I've been on Fox 5 here, I don't know how many times, but a number of times here in the city. And that's one, what's the CBS, forgot what they call it, right? But their version of that show. And I mentioned this, I believe I mentioned this during the event, and I'm actually working with somebody right now. We're going to work together a campaign. You could also go pay to be on television, and they will do just one of these simple interviews with you, and it will look like you're like you're on Fox 5 or just whatever the show is. But it's a paid process. Last time I checked, it was in the $500 range. So don't quote me on that. It could be a little higher, a little lower, but it was in that range. And they'll do a 3 or 4 minute interview with you and your company. And so you could also pay to play, right? Now, what's great about the free stuff is you don't have to pay, but obviously there's other challenges in getting on, right? So there's sweeps, there's other things going on. But remember, as I said during the event, they are absolutely in need of content. They need content. So they are looking for stuff. I talked with somebody earlier today, and she was sharing about a New Orleans chef. And I said, I was doing a little consulting, and I said, well, here's how you promote this, right? And it was about getting this person on TV. And again, anytime, just like I said during the event, anytime you can demonstrate what it is that you do, or turn what it is you do into a demonstration, or provide the top 7 tips to 5 tips to this, you are apt to get on TV. The second thing is anytime you could tie it into a cause of some sort. That's one of my favorites, is just to go find a nonprofit, right? Somebody who's trying to raise some money, raise some awareness for a particular cause, and tie what it is that you do into what it is that they do, right? So it's a win for them, it's a win for you, and it's a win for the TV station. It's a perfect scenario, right? It's a great scenario. And Natasha, I think you were with Roots Adoption Agency, and I did that years ago with Roots Adoption Agency. I produced an event, right? And me producing the event, I brought on Roots Adoption Agency, one of the people with the adoption agency, and it was a win-win for all of us. And it's a great way of doing it. Katrina, did you? All right. So what other questions do we have about media? Okay. All right. So let's go to, let me turn this slide up here. Let's go to the next slide. So let me just go back to the chat here because, all right. Okay. So let's go to the next. All right. So your book. Now, one of the beautiful things is in talking with people after the event, right? Everybody's writing a book, or people are taking their book and adding some of the stuff I said you should add to your book. Do you need a book to go book a speaking engagement? The answer to that question is no. With that being said, it makes the process easier, and more importantly, it opens up all sorts of options that if you don't have a book, those options aren't necessarily there for you, right? So it opens up all sorts of options. So as I had described to you, let me go back to the main one here. Okay. So as I described, this was my book, The Magic of Attitude. And remember, we talked about taking the picture in such a way in the book. This is the original cover, and this is the customized cover. So when you customize these covers for your clients, that turns a $10, $20 book into a highly valuable thing, okay? The second thing you want in the book, remember, is your presentation voucher. So in this case, it's a $997 presentation voucher that they can now apply to your speaking fee. So obviously you're getting more than $9.97. Otherwise you're doing it for nothing. Okay. So, but again, it turns your book into a highly valuable thing. All right. And it just makes it great. So let me go back to chat here. All right. Okay. So AJ, how do you repurpose media content? Okay. And AJ, I'm going to ask a follow-up question just so I'm clear and I answer you correctly. When you say media content, are you talking about like publicity getting on television? So just put a yes or no. And by television, that could be radio, all of that stuff. Yes. All right. Let me go back to the slide here. All right, AJ. So okay. I've not. She's not. Yes. Okay. So how do you repurpose once you get media content? Meaning that's television, it's print, it's radio. Okay. How do you repurpose that content? Well, the beautiful thing about media is with the internet, it now lives forever. With that said, you don't want to make that assumption that they're going to keep it on their website forever. So you want to take whatever media that you get. So let's just talk about television as an example, but this also applies to print and radio. Okay. There are organizations that will, so let's say you're on Fox 5 tomorrow. And when I say that, that's not an exaggeration. I've had that happen where I reached out to Fox 5 about doing something and they said, can you come on tomorrow? Right. And I was unable to do it. Right. I just had something else going on. I was unable to do it. But that's how quickly media can happen. So it doesn't have to be, weeks and months ahead. However, you want to project at least that far ahead because they do book their guests out that far. Okay. So going back to the media content, there are organizations that will tape the shows. They tape the shows they tape all the TV shows. You have to call the station that you are now on or about to appear on. So I'm giving you the paid version first. You're now on or about to appear on and find out who tapes their particular show. You then contact, after you're on, you then contact that person or that company and you say, look, I was on a such and such show on this date between this time and this time. Here's my name. And they will go pull the footage for you. They would download it to a CD, a file. They would download it to a file and they will send it to you. And yes, there is a fee for this, right? Typically, it's been in the $60 to like $120 range, depending on the company, right? $75 in that range. So they pull your 5-10 minute clip, whatever it is, and they send it to you and they mail it to you. And this is great footage to have. So obviously, if you're on the radio, somebody can record that for you. Okay. Print media is pretty easy to grab. You just go online and just get it yourself. Now with once you have the no problem, AJ. Once you have the footage, now you want to use it. So you want to post it on your website, right? You want to post it on your Facebook page. You want to talk about it, right? You want to talk about it, and you do not. So remember if you remember during the live event, I gave you I showed you some footage. My first newspaper article was done in 1991, and I still have that, right? I still have it, and I still use it. Right, I still use that article, even though it's X number of years old. So now it's up to you to use the media, and you use it in all formats. You post it on your website. You put it. You can put it on your promo video. You put it in. So remember those little emails I told you that you send to people, right? That can be something that you send to them. Right, that's something that you can send to them and say, "Oh, here's some footage I was on. I was on Fox 5 as an example. I was on Fox 5 talking about," and you insert your expertise, right? And I would love to talk to you about being on your event. Now, the great thing about this type of media footage is it's no longer you talking about you, and it's somebody else talking about you, and that's what makes it so brilliant. It's just powerful because everybody wants to be on TV, right? Everybody looks at somebody that's on TV and they just assume that this person is the qualified expert on that topic because they're on TV. Now, when you combine television media with social media that's when things start to go viral and they start to work together. Right. So I hope that answers your question, AJ. But again, you want to repurpose it on everything. So, and again, I know I mentioned this during the event, but again, this is one that's easy to miss and it's powerful. Is with print media, you want to take the print media, you want to copy it. Okay, by print media, I mean physical print media or online print media, right? So it doesn't have to be a physical newspaper anymore. But you want to take the information. You want to provide a link from your website to their website. On top of, you want to take the footage, by footage meaning the article, you want to copy and paste it, and you want to put it into one of the back pages of your website. Something that they can't necessarily see. Is not on one of the tabs. And I'm going to talk about this during the course in more detail, right? But you could have a webmaster do it, or it's really simple to do. It's not that complicated. It's really a copy and paste. And what this does is this provides what I call breadcrumbs online, right? So now people are typing in stuff, they're seeing stuff, and all of a sudden this article pops up. And they click on it, and then they go to your website, which now takes them to the homepage of your website. Now they're in your world, okay? And let me just speak about websites for a minute. It is absolutely important that you get a website, right? Is it necessary? Can you book speaking engagements without a website? Yes, but I'm talking about the path of least resistance, okay? You don't want to do this. You don't want to try to have Facebook and Instagram do all the heavy lifting for you. The reason being is when you're on Facebook, when you're on Instagram, what are people on those? What are people on social media for? To see what everybody else is doing, right? So it's easy for them to just start clicking away from what it is that you have. So you don't want to post all your stuff, but you don't want that to be with the sole way that you post everything, because it's too easy for people to click away and go do something else. So you want to bring them into your world, which is your website, as an example, right? The best being is you want to get them on the phone, right? You want to get into a conversation with them. But leading up to that point, you want to bring them into your world, your website, and you want to operate from that. So let's see who sent this here. Okay, all right. Perfect. So I hope that answered your question, AJ. And again, radio. So let me just discuss radio. Radio's what's great about radio is it's pretty easy to get, okay? And you don't necessarily have to go in to go do it. So the great thing about print media and the radio is you could do radio interviews from the house, which is great. Obviously TV, unless you got a studio in your house or whatever, but you got to kind of go in to do that. But radio, again, you take it, you get the recording of it. You get the recording of it. Again, you have that transcribed, right? You have that transcribed. You also put that in the back page of your website. And again, it's just internet breadcrumbs for people to find you. And you also post the interview on your website. Again, this is great stuff to post on social media. It's great stuff to put on your website. And also, whenever you're doing this stuff, you also want to make sure you capture those companies' logos, right? And you'll end up creating your vanity reel where it says, as seen on this, and this, okay? Right? But you want to capture their stuff. And also what you don't want to do is you do not want to say, oh, I'm just on this radio station and that's small time. I don't want to promote that. No. A lot of the big media opportunities come from smaller media, right? But more importantly, I'll explain it like this. I was in, I want to say I was in Arizona. I was at Arizona and speaking engagement, right? Walking back through the airport, and somebody said, man, I just saw you on Good Morning America. Now, I wasn't on Good Morning America. I was on the local affiliate in that area. It was not Good Morning America. It was like the local Fox 5 channel. It wasn't Fox 5, but it was that local channel. But what people do is they tend to round up to the thing that they remember the easiest. In this case, Good Morning America. So walking to the airport, guys, hey, man, I saw you on Good Morning America. That was great, right? So you do not want to discount the media that you get because people typically just round up. I've had people see me on HBO, right? I've had people introduce me as having performed for the Queen of England, right? Because because they just kind of lump all this stuff together, right? They just kind of lump all this stuff together. So you don't want to look at something and say, oh, this is not a good opportunity because it is. And again, this is all stuff that you add to your portfolio, and that's how you start to build out. Remember that media kit we talked about? That's how you start to build out that media kit, right? Your online and offline media kit. Okay. So let's see. What other questions do we have here? Let's see. All right. Was that a question? What is that? Nope, that's not a question. All right. I think that was Katrina talking. Okay. Not a problem, Katrina. I understand. All right. Okay. So any questions about your book? And again, remember, going back to your story, right? Kind of hard to see this here, but on the back of your book where it has about you, that's where you put the short version of your story. Remember, that's the short version of your story. Okay. And again, not necessary to have a book, but again, you can create so many opportunities. And I want you to think about it this way. So keep in mind, the booking process is they're usually considering a handful of speakers for the event, right? Some for different slots at the event, because there may be multiple speakers, some for the workshops, but there's usually, 3 or 4 people that they're considering, and every person comes to the table with their person. Okay. So think about you now having a book, and part of your sales process is you mentioned you will give away, right, 50 or 100 books as a special bonus when you bring me in as a speaker. So now what you've done, the book is valued at, $20, right? You just, what did it say, it's 100 bucks. You just given them $2,000, right? Well, this is a huge bonus for everybody. This is a huge benefit for them because now they could take these books and use them as gifts. It's lots of things that they could do with it, right? So the speaker that's not doing that is now at a disadvantage, right? Or the speaker that does not have a book or is going up against somebody that has a book is now at a disadvantage. So don't be afraid, because remember, our investment in this is what? $215, remember? $215 in my case. Okay? The other one is, I think this is $267 or $285. It was something like that. It's a little thicker, right? But it's not a huge investment. And if it, it books you $3,500, $5,000 speaking engagement, do you mind taking a couple $100 out of that, right? How many times would you go to the bank if every time you gave them $100, they gave you $5,000? As many times as you could get to the bank, right? So that's the benefit of having books. And there's so many different options you could create, and not even talking about selling books at the end of the event. And it's just so many things that you could do with it. But the big benefit is, remember, it's a business card. It is a business card. A business card. We're at an event, and we're at a networking event. You hand somebody your book, the other person hands them the business card. Which one has more value? Obviously the book. Obviously the book. So get your book done. And it was great to hear a lot of people are working in their books. And, lock yourself in a room, put a timetable to it. Go to Otter, go to the transcription services, and just knock it out. Get it done. You can improve it as you go along. And one way to help get this done is to create your cover first. Remember, go to Upwork, right? Create your cover first of the book, get a 3D image of the cover, and now put that on social media and say, hey, my book is coming out in the next month. Can't wait to tell you more about it. Now you've obligated yourself. Everybody's going to be asking about your book. Now, remember, not all your friends aren't the ones that are going to buy the book, but at least you've obligated, you've made a public commitment. All right. So pre-sales for the book. What is the best way to do that? The easiest way, now pre-sales, okay, let me just ask this. Pre-sales before you get the book done? Just put a Y for yes. Yes, okay. So pre-sales before you get the book is done. So remember how I told you in the event how I sold 700 copies of the book before the book was even finished, right? So I pre-sold the book before the book was done. And that's just a matter of talking to the client and saying, hey, this is what I have to offer. Right. So not only do I have my keynote speaking engagement, right? I also have this. And usually what happens is they usually want to put the book, because it's a product, right? They usually want to put that in like a different category to pay for it. So that's kind of comes a separate fee usually, right? But that's how you pre-sell it. You just mention it, right? You mention it enough, people are going to buy it, and it works. You got to have it, right? You got to have the idea, and you have to know that it's going to be done. Remember, I did not have the book finished before I sold the book. So it's just a matter of mentioning it. And that's when I talk about the success blueprint and how to actually talk about the book. But in the simplest form, you just say, hey, this would be a great gift. I think I gave you the script at the event. This would be a great gift for all the attendees. How many people, are going to attend the event? 600, right? So then you put an option for 600 books in there. So remember, it doesn't have to be the person, by person meaning the organization that's hiring you that's paying for the book. It can also be a sponsor that's paying for the book, right? Because they want their logo on the front of it. Again, this is massive. This is huge because now they get to promote themselves at the event with the keynote speaker, right? And these sponsors are always looking for ways to put their logo in, one event I go to every year, one of my clients, they put their logo and all their information on the on the room keys, right? So when people check into the hotel, they get their information, the client's information on the room key, where they're looking at this for the next 3 days. The odds of them stopping by that client's booth and checking their stuff out is extremely high, right? So anytime you could market like that and put some sort of offer, something special, your odds shoot up tremendously of experiencing success. Remember, give, ask. But you want to give more than you ask, right? Give, ask. Give, ask. Okay? So now people aren't, you're asking, they're like, well, I kind of owe it, right? So you want to, it works beautifully. And it's a great way to benefit people. Even the people that did not make the investment in the program I'd mentioned that you had to apply for during the event, you still benefited massively, and I'm still giving now. So massively, I'm not, this is what you could win regardless. Okay. So let's see. Any other questions concerning the book? All right. I'm going to go into the next topic. Assuming there's no more questions, I'll give it 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's go to next part here, and that's rave reviews. Okay. All right, Katrina, nice to see you go, and thanks for staying on. And again, you want to have proof and evidence that you do what it is that you say that you do. Okay. You would have evidence of that. So the video I just showed you, 10 minutes ago, whatever it was, I showed you just a string of testimonials of people that attended the event. Now, testimonials could be video, they could be print, and they could be audio, right? But also testimonials so that check, I showed you Marco's check is $20,000 check. That's a form of a testimonial, okay? You in front of a live audience, that's a testimonial. So it shows that you do what you say that you do. So you just okay, so you have your 60-second video, but you also have your 60-second video in front of a live audience that is applauding wildly, right? Giving you a big round of applause. That even if they did not hear your testimonial and even if they did not hear your 60-second story and they just saw that footage of you speaking in front of the audience, right? That in itself is a testimonial, okay? That in itself is a testimonial. So whenever you think about taking photos and pictures and getting video, you want to get it from the standpoint that they can see there's a live audience. They can see that there's a live audience because that again proves that you do what you say that you do, and you've done it, okay? So in regards to rave reviews, let's say you're starting from ground zero and you have nothing right now, okay? No speaking, nothing. What you do is you have plenty of people in your life that will vouch for you. And these are what I call character testimonials, right? They will vouch for you. They will say things about you. And you ask them questions. I'm sorry, you want reviews that answer objections that people have in regards to what you do. So one of the testimonials I got, this is a print testimonial. The client says, we flew Eric Anderson from Atlanta to London to speak at our conference. When I first told my colleagues here at the company that I was going to do this, they thought I was crazy. But now they've seen you in action. They agree it was worth every single penny. Okay. So that testimonial answers the objection of fee and price, right? So you want to think about your testimonials in terms of answering objections and the results that you get. Okay. So again, as I mentioned during the live event, and again, you want to take this into consideration, whenever you're using a fee-based testimonial. So when Marco said, I made $20,000 because of Eric, right? I don't necessarily have to show the check, but I have to have evidence that it actually exists. That's just being FTC compliant. So you cannot just make claims without having the evidence to back it up. So whether it's IRS statements or banking statements, checks are always good. That's easy. You want to show, when you're making financial claims, you want to show the evidence. When they start using numbers, you want to show the evidence, or at least have the evidence to back it up. But if you have the evidence, it verifies the testimonial. Okay. So just as a way to stay out of trouble. So, and again, you want to talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family. These are character-based testimonials. And these people, assuming, you've treated them halfway decently over the years, will say something nice to you, nice about you, and you want to capture video. Okay. The great thing about video is you can transcribe it to audio using Otter, right? Using Trent. You could transcribe it to print, and you could also pull the audio from it. So give you a powerful strategy. I'm not sure I shared this during the event. Maybe I did. I think I did. Back of your business card, right? Back of your business card, you put, let's see who's still here. We have, let's see, Nataki. So in the back of your business card, Nataki, you have what you do on the front, right? And also on your business card, still use business cards. You want to use the entire business card, right? This is valuable real estate on the back. You want to use your entire business card. But your business card on the back that just says, here's the hotline of everybody saying nice things about Nataki and her service, okay? And then what you do is you take these video testimonials, you pull the audio, and you just string a couple of them together, right? And they're all saying nice things about you, okay? And again, this is just, it builds trust with people. Oh, she actually does what she says she does, okay? And anytime you could get results from people that, I know, some people here in the medical field, and but anytime people start, like, you have evidence of results that they've produced, if you're in weight loss, that they've lost this much weight, anytime you can turn it into a demonstration or something they can see, like a before and after, makes it powerful. So not just them saying it, the before and after, okay? So anytime you can do that, it makes it very, very powerful. So let's see, what other questions do we have in regards to testimonials? And you want to, as a mentor taught me, you want to get in the business of collecting testimonials. You want proof. You want so much proof that people just say to themselves, consciously or unconsciously, all these people can't be lying, okay? And again, I shared the strategy during the event of getting a print testimonial on a company's letterhead, right? A print testimonial on a company's letterhead, and then using that as a document to now send out to people saying, hey, look what I've done with such and such company. And obviously you're sending it out to people that are of like mind or in the same type of industry that this particular company gave you a testimonial from. That makes any sense to you, okay? Powerful, powerful strategy. Again, you're proving what you say. You're proving that you do what you say that you do. Let's see here. All right. Any questions regarding testimonials? Any questions about the 2-day weekend? I'm going to keep going here. So let's see here. And again, I mentioned this earlier, but in case you forgot, go to ericandersonlive.com/free-gifts.html. All right, take a picture of that. Write that down if you have not gone to the website yet to collect your gifts and your video, right? You want to use your video. It's great footage there. All right. Let me just go back here and see if there's any questions here. All right. So I said I was going to make an announcement, and that goes along. So here's what it's about. And when I kind of debriefed concerning the live event, the 2-day live event for everybody that attended the live event, if you remember, you had to apply to be a part of the ongoing program. I'm going to mentor you for a full year, help you get your speaking engagements, get on TV, finish your book, all the stuff. We give you my entire business, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I also, when I came home and I thought about it, I kind of felt like I was, maybe punish is too strong of a word, but I was punishing people who couldn't make the $997 deposit, the investment of $997 if they're accepted into the program. And it was, it was almost like 50% that, right? So I thought about it, and I did have some people also reach out to me, and I talked to a couple people about it. So here's what I am going to do, and this is going to be for the next 24 hours. And again, this just, some of you want to know, I'm going to show you the schedule here in a second. This is everything that I'm showing you, but there's obviously a lot more. If you know anything about me now, I over deliver on everything. So I'm going to give you all my assets to run your speaking business. That's all the contracts, everything, all the assets. I'm going to give you my most successful marketing campaigns. I mentioned during the event, the $22,000 letter campaign. I'm going to give you that entire campaign in its entirety. And it's really a matter of, once you have your story, it's really a matter of kind of plugging that in. And this is still a campaign I've used for years and still use to this day. I'm going to give you a whole training on how to use direct mail. I'm going to give you, I talked about where to get mailing lists from, how to go pay for them, but I'm going to give you a free mailing list resource that, to be honest with you, there's pretty much nothing else you'll ever need for your speaking engagements, okay? You'll be able to find whoever you're looking for on this resource. I'm setting up a private Facebook group, right? And I'm going to have a monthly Q&A. I'll announce it in the group, announce it on the email, but a monthly Q&A. I'm going to talk about getting on television. I'm going to give you all the press releases, everything, all the different strategies I use to get on TV, okay? And how to use that. I talked about it briefly on your website and all that good stuff. I'm bonusing you a 1-hour private coaching call that I'm going to record and transcribe. And I'd mentioned to you, I want everybody to succeed on this. So I'm going to give you more than that, right? Because everybody has kind of different needs. But this is everything you're getting: the website creation, the company I use, why I use them, why it's so easy to use, VIP ticket to the next Speaking for Newbies. I'm also going to have celebrity photographer Eric Johnson come out to the next Speaking for Newbies event and take your headshots, right? So this is something I'm paying for, but you get all of this stuff, right? Take your headshots that you could use in all your marketing, obviously. And I'm going to give you my personal media platform. I didn't talk about it a whole lot during the event, but it's a powerful way to stay in contact with clients. Your keynote, how to give really effective keynote speaking presentations, like how to present your with your information. We're going to talk about sizzle reel creation. I give you a real simple strategy that works, right, on this webcast, but I'm going to give you the other strategies that work very well as well. Talk to you about how to create your promo video, right? That also promo video that makes money for you, right? Your promo video should actually make money, and how to finish and sell your book in record time. And I'm considering, I talked about this during the event, but I want to find some people that we're all kind of working together and have similar topics, right? Could be an attitude, goal setting, and actually just get a book done. Everybody contributes a chapter, right? And we just get a book done. And I go through the entire process. You get the book, get to put your picture on it. But that's going to be a matter of having a conversation with everybody that's a part of the group. And I'm going to give you the recordings of the Speaking for Newbies weekend. Now, that's what I'm giving you. There's actually a whole lot more that I'm going to gift you. But that's what I'm showing you right now. So that's what I talked about during the event. And the schedule, and I'm going to send this to everybody, right? I'm going to send this to everybody that made the investment in the program. But this is the schedule. So it's going to start on the 9th and every Monday after that for the next 8 weeks. But remember, the program is a full year long. So, and I'm going to do the monthly Q&As in the Facebook group. I'm going to check in with you. There's a lot going on. So it's a full year program, but these are the first 8 weeks to really get going in a big way. So the thing I kind of came across was I realized I felt like I was punishing people for not being able to make the entire investment. So what I have done, and again, this is if you are accepted into the program. If you say where it says click there to apply, it should be on your right. That will take you. Now, if you've already completed the application that you did during the event, you don't need to complete that again. You do not need to complete that again. Those are the exact same questions I already have. Let me reach down here. I already have your applications here. So you do not need to complete that again. But for those who are asking, what I've done is you could get the entire program, right? Everything for it's the $9.97, but it's $97 a month for the next 13 months. So it comes out once a month, right? Which is a total of $1,261. So obviously I'm financing. I don't, I deserve a little bit more. But again, I felt like the other one was not doable for everybody. So if you are accepted in the program, that's the offer, and I'm only offering that for the next 24 hours, and then the investment for the deposit goes up. Now, for those who are already in the program, you're set to go, you're good to go. Okay, this is, and you're actually saving on the deposit. And again, I'm with you for a full year, right? You saw my guarantee when you go to the website. When you click that link, it will take you to the application. If you've already filled that out, you just click to apply. It will take you to the PayPal page, which then allows you to make that initial $97 investment or the $9.97, right? It just depends on how you want to take care of that, right? But again, this is only good for the next 24 hours, and then I'm going to announce that the deposit is going up. If you are accepted into the program, I will again call you. I will let you know, hey, you're good to go, and we're going to get started. And again, going back to, let me just say this real quick. I'm doing this out of order, but I'm going to send everybody who's already made the investment into the program to a separate website. I'm going to send you a private email that's going to have all your bonuses, and I'm going to I'm sending you to a separate website that's going to have a password and all of that good stuff. That's where everything will be uploaded to the site once a week. And remember, if you cannot make that initial training, the live training on Monday, the reason you want to be on the live training is you have the opportunity to ask and get your questions answered. Okay. That's why you want to be on the live training. If for some reason you cannot make the live training, the 8-week trainings, that's not a problem, because that's going to be uploaded to the site and you have lifetime access to that. Okay. In addition to all the Q&As in the Facebook group, and all the other stuff I'm going to gift you in addition to the Speaking for Newbies VIP pass to the next event. And there was a lot of people that did not show up to the event, even though we had pretty much a full house. There was a lot of people that did not show up. And people are already asking me about the next date. So I'm actually talking with the hotel now to kind of look at a couple of dates to do the Speaking for Newbies 2-day live event, which is going to be a little different than what you got the first time for those who went the first time. So let me look at the, all right, Mia, nice, okay. Let me answer any questions here. Let me see if anybody wants to raise their hand. No speaking request. All right. So again, let me just, restate that. Where's this thing at here? All right, is that the okay? So when you go to yep. So when you click here to apply, that will take you to the application that must be filled out if you have not completed the application yet. Right? That must be filled out. Okay. That's an hour. What is that? Okay. If you already completed the application, I already have it. You just click on that button that will take you to a PayPal page, and you have the option to take care of the deposit of $9.97 total, or over 13 months, $97 a month, which is a total of $1,261. All right. And again, you still get everything that's been promised to you, plus everything I'm going to gift you that I have not even mentioned yet. So take care of that now. And as you're doing that, we still have people on the phone here on the webcast. Hey, you're welcome, Nataki. Althea, what is the deposit? Well, it's still $9.97, but it's taken care of. Okay, you got it. It's taken care of over 13 months. Or you could just take care of the $9.97 in one shot. I will leave that up to you. Trust me, I've been in every particular financial situation you could imagine, and I get it. And I say that because some people did ask, and so I thought I'd do that because I really want you guys to succeed. But again, this is all contingent on being accepted into the program. And again, I say that because of there was a couple of applications with some, like some interesting stuff on it, right? So, everybody's not coachable. And again, if it's going to cause financial hardship, don't make the investment. Use what I've given you so far, benefit from it. Perhaps we'll meet down the road. If you're not the type of person that actually, follows step-by-step ABC plans and rather just kind of trying to make the cake from scratch, right? It's not going to work for you, because that's, if you're going to be like that guy that's, instead of just sending out the success blueprint the way I said send it out, he just sent it out randomly to people. If you're that person, it's not going to work, because you're going to do your own thing. But if you can follow step-by-step ABC plans, this will work for you. This is I provided for myself and my family for the last 26 years. This works, right? This absolutely works. So let's answer any additional questions anybody may have. You're welcome, Althea. All right, type in any final questions that you have, and I would love to answer any questions, and we will go from there. Again, we've been on about an hour and 22 minutes here. Actually, a little longer than that because of the pre-show. All right. That's any final questions? Any questions concerning the weekend? All right. So we got 23 hours. Let me look here. You're welcome. Let me just scroll down. You're welcome, JP. You're welcome, Nataki. All right, Mia. Welcome. Trying to do my best to create win-wins for everybody here. Make sure I've answered all the questions here. And again, as I said, that's for 24 hours. So that page will come down in 24 hours. The page with your free gifts, I'm going to keep that up for the next month or so. So you have plenty of time to get your gifts. But keep in mind, it takes up space on the website. So I will delete those videos at some point. So make sure you go and get your video if you have not done so already. And if push came to shove, I will probably keep the videos on my personal computer for a little bit. So if you absolutely lost it or something, perhaps you can reach out to me and we could get it to you. But go there, download it while it's there. Welcome, Quincy. All right, welcome, Jamel. Fantastic. So I'm going to leave it up here. I'm going to stay on here for a couple more minutes just to see if you guys have any questions here. Love to answer your questions. Again, I'm an open book. So let's see what's going on here. All right, so I'm going to give it 60 seconds for any final questions. That would put us right about 8:22. So a little over an hour and a half. All right, well, I want to thank everybody for, and also let me say this. So starting probably Monday, right? This is separate, but starting Monday, you'll start to receive my Eric's Escapades emails, okay? This is the daily email I send out that one has incredible marketing advice in it, but I kind of do it through my life stories and experiences and an interesting and entertaining way, right? So, and also you want to model this stuff that you also see me doing, right? Because by just watching it, you're also learning as well. But I'm doing it because it works. Right. So I know one of the questions was at the event, I mean, do you really contact people that much? And the answer is yes. Because remember, it's not their job to remember, right? It's our job to remind them that we are out there. Okay. Oh, also as a heads up, I'm not sure this has worked out, but I just got a notification from somebody that attended the event, went back and was telling their supervisor what they did over the weekend. And that organization now wants to bring me in as a speaker for their event. Okay? So we haven't worked through the detail. We haven't really had like a real strong conversation, but that's how easy it can be to get speaking engagements. Okay? All right. So Mia, I was driving. Is there contact info you have if I have a question? Right, yeah, all my information is on the websites that I have, ericandersonlive.com. You can reach me there. Also, keep in mind, I'm traveling, father of twins, all of that stuff, right? So if I don't reach back to you immediately, keep in mind I will reach back to you. Also, keep in mind, sometimes emails get lost. So if for some reason I did not reach back to you, that means I did not receive the email. But also I have my phone number there as well. That's not to say I just want people just hounding me, calling me all night long. But I'm here to help and answer questions and benefit you. So, all right. So Quincy, do the need an MC? I know we talked. Is this Quincy that came to the event who was interested in MC work? Just put a yes if that's correct. Just so I know you're what you're talking about. You're welcome, Mia. All right. So yeah, Quincy, yes, this entire process works as an MC as well. I'm not sure that's what you're asking, but yes, it works as an MC as well. And myself, I've acted as MCs. I've acted as an MC for events. And the truth is, I'm not a great MC. I'm good, but I'm not a great MC. But if you got the personality, the material, I mean, MCing is a great way of doing it because companies, organizations are constantly looking for somebody else to do what they do not want to do. And that's to go speak in front of a crowd because it's not what they do, right? So also with that being said is just as a side note, I meant to talk about this earlier and did not. And it goes back to your story. and putting together your presentation is if I want you to think about one of your favorite celebrities, whether they're Hollywood, music, whatever, and think about seeing he or she, this person, in a interview, right? And you've seen this person in multiple interviews, and you more than likely have heard them tell the same story or stories multiple times with very slight variation in those stories, okay? The reason they do that is because, one, it works, but they are following a script. I know one of the challenges a lot of people have is they want to go up and just kind of wing it and just think they can just get up there and just talk, right? No, you want a script. You want it to be scripted from A to Z. And when it's scripted from A to Z, that's when you could go off and improv and do stuff. And if necessary, or when necessary, come back to your script. But you don't want to go out there just totally you don't want to go out there at all just winging it. You want to have a structured, and this is, again, what the course is about, and we'll discuss that during the course, but a structured presentation from A to Z. This makes you more comfortable. It also makes it more effective. And once you know exactly what works, this story works here, this story works in this place, this works here, it makes your presentation it's great because now it's very predictable. So as I told you, my guarantee, and again, also the guarantee for this event is, let me make sure I read it properly. I'm going off. When you go to the page, you can see the guarantee. I guarantee every single thing I do because I know it works, right? So my guarantee for my speaking engagements are I come to your event, I get a standing ovation, the audience is applauding wildly, or you don't owe me a single red cent, right? That's what I guarantee. The reason I can make that guarantee is, one, I know I'm going to leave it all on the stage, right? I'm going to give it all I got. But more importantly, equally important, is I'm following a script. It's very predictable. I've been doing this long enough to know when I do this, and this in this particular order, here's the result. And it's extremely predictable. Not guaranteed always, right? But I've never had anybody take me up on the guarantee. Is the reason why is it's not about the guarantee. It's about making them feel comfortable in hiring you and booking you and bringing you to their event. Do you absolutely need a standing ovation guarantee? No, that's just the one I use, right? But we're going to talk about creating guarantees and how to make people feel comfortable in hiring you during the event for their conferences. So looks like some of the questions came in at the last second. Any additional questions here? Any additional questions? All right. Do not see any follow-up questions. Let's give it another 60 seconds. I gave it that last 60 seconds and they came pouring in. All right, another 60 seconds here. And then we'll wrap it up. Again, I want to thank everybody for attending the post-event webinar. And everybody who's made the investment, you will receive separate emails. One, just going over the schedule again. And with the links to the website, that's going to be a private website with a password that will allow you to go download the information as I upload it. So remember, you want to attend the classes live as best you can, because that will give you that chance to answer questions. And I'm going to give you all the documents, everything you need as you need it, right? As you need it. So, and we're also going to start scheduling your 1 hour consulting call. And Oprah, I'm going to definitely get you down, and because I know you have an event coming up here. I believe it was on the 29th. I definitely want to talk to you about that and tell you what you need to be doing for that. So to have a very successful event and what you need to capture and all of that great stuff. So again, thanks again for joining me on the post-event webinar for Speaking for Newbies, the live event. I had a blast. And again, I had a blast meeting you guys at the event. It was fantastic. Had a great time. And so, yeah, go to ericandersonlive.com/free-gifts.html to get your free gifts, which is obviously your video if you have not done that already. And I also have some books and some other surprises there. So make sure you grab that stuff. So once again, thanks again for joining me tonight. You're welcome, Oprah. December 29th, that is correct. So you'll receive an email from me here real soon, next day or so, if that. And you and I need to have a conversation so we could kind of walk through that and strategize that. You're welcome, Gwen. Thanks for joining. And again, you'll get all the information with the course. And I can't wait to benefit you guys and work with everybody. And got something real special planned. I can't guarantee it's going to happen with the media, but I got something I think I'm really going to try to do and make happen. So you're welcome, Janelle. All right. Okay, well, thanks again. Good night. And enjoy tomorrow and your weekend. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.